Okay, so this video is about solving literal equations. And in this video, you will learn to basically isolate a variable within the equation and make that equation solve for that variable, as in t equals something else. So this says solve the equation for the letter t. So if I solve the equation for the letter t, I would treat t as if it was the only variable in that equation. So I want to get t alone. So I'm going to rewrite this equation. R times t. I'm going to divide this side by the letter r, divide this side by the letter r. The reason why I'm going to divide both sides by the letter r is because if I divide this by the letter r, these r's cancel. So this r and that r cancel to be 1. And my answer is d over r is equal to t. I'll make that look bigger. D over r equals to t. So that will be the equation solved for t. Alright, so this is what solving literal equations is about, isolating a variable within that equation. Let's do another one. I'm about to erase the screen. So if you need that as a note, I'll copy it. Okay, so here's a new equation. It says solve the equation for the letter r. And in this equation, r is here. And even though I didn't put a times sign, it says p times r times t. So if I'm going to solve that for the letter r, I'm going to treat r like it's a variable, the only variable, and divide away everything else. So basically, I'm going to divide this side by p and t. Divide this side by p and t. P times t. So by doing that, in my new equation, the p's and the t's should cancel to be 1s. So this p cancels out with that p to be 1. And that t cancels with that t to be 1, basically. So you don't really have to write the 1s, just know that they cancel. So that gives you I, and this should be an I over p over t. So I over pt, and that should equal to the letter r. And that doesn't look good either. I over pt equals to r. And that looks a little better. So that will be the process of solving that equation for r. So let's do another. Alright, so this equation says solve it for the letter h. So we want to isolate the letter h. And here it is. It says pi times r squared times h equals a v. That's volume. So if I'm going to solve that for h, since it's all been multiplied together, I got to do the opposite multiplication and divide them away. So I'm going to divide this side by pi r squared, and divide the right side by pi r squared. Since I have a pi here, they cancel to be 1s, and the r squareds there cancel to be 1. So on the right side, I just have h. On the left side, I have v divided by pi r squared. So this is what v is. That's what h is. H is equal to v divided by pi r squared. All right, let's do another one. I'm going to pause this video, so you need that as a note. You should copy it. All right, so in this problem, it says solve it for the letter x. Letter x. So in this case, since x is here, and you have subtraction happening in this problem, you can't just solve for the letter x just by dividing away all the numbers, or all the letters right away. You have to isolate this part first. So if I'm going to isolate that part first, I'm going to rewrite the problem. Rx subtract st equals to r I'm going to add away the st. So now I have Rx equals to R plus st. So we're going to solve that for x. My last step is divide away the r that's next to it. So Rx equals to R plus st. I'm going to divide this side by the letter R and this side by the letter R. So that way, the r's cancel. So this r cancels, leaving with just x on the left side. I'll put it over here. So it should be x equals to R plus st all over R. Now I know what x is in terms of all the other letters. All right, let's do another. All right, so in this example, it says solve the equation for the letter L. And here's the letter L. So to begin, I need to isolate this term with L in it. So let's rewrite this. P equals a 2L plus 2W. And that's really perimeter equals twice the length plus twice the width. That's what all those letters mean. But we're going to isolate it for L, length. I would first subtract away the 2W. And that will give you P subtract 2W equals to 2L. And my final step will be divide away the 2. So P subtract 2W equals 2L. And I don't want to keep this L there, this 2 there. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And that allows the 2's to cancel. And my final answer should be P subtract 2W over 2 equals 2L. All right, I'll get that as a note. I'm about to erase it and give it another. All right, so this is my last one. It says solve for C. This is basically a Fahrenheit equation. It means Fahrenheit equals 9/5 times Celsius plus 32. So it's a pretty famous equation as well. A lot like a couple other equations I gave you in this video. So if I'm going to solve this equation for the letter C. So, you know what? Pause the video and see if you can do it on your own. So pause the video and give it a shot. And then after you give it a shot, join me and see if I come up with the same answer. So give it a shot now. So if I was solving this, I want to isolate the C. So I would first subtract 32 from both sides. And that would mean that F subtract 32 should equal to 9/5 C. Now, to finish this, we'll basically take the problem that we have, F subtract 32 equals 9/5 C, and I'll divide away the coefficient, 9/5. So if you actually divide by a coefficient, like a fraction like that, it basically means to multiply by the reciprocal. So by divided by 9/5, that basically means I'm multiplying by the reciprocal of 9/5. So in my next step, these cancel, and it gives me F subtract 32 divided by 9/5, and that will equal to C. Now we can't leave it like that because you have a fraction in the denominator. So what that means is 5/9 is the reciprocal, and I will multiply by F subtract 32. So if you're dividing by a fraction, it means to multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of that fraction. So the fraction was 9/5, so multiply the numerator, F subtract 32, by that reciprocal. All right, so those are all the ones I have to give you. I'm going to give you one to try on your own. All right, so here you are. All right, so this problem you can do, I'm going to tell you the answer after you finish it. It says solve the equation for A, and write your answer in terms of b, x, and 5. That is just a fancy way of just saying solve for a, and the only thing you're going to see on the right side of the equation is a b, and an x, and a 5. It doesn't change anything about how we do this. But you see it written that way sometimes. So I just want you to know that if you see it written that way, you continue to solve it as you always would solve it. So if I'm going to solve that equation, I would probably first add, oh, no, you solve the equation. Pause the video, you give it a shot, then I'll talk about it after you finish. All right, so I'm going to solve that. I'll add 5 to both sides. So I'll get a, b, x equals to the number 5. If my goal is to solve for a, I will divide away everything except a. So I divide by b and x. By doing that, it cancels out everything but the a. So if I had a, b, x over bx, and that's equal to 5 over bx. The b cancels and the x cancels, leaving with just a. Let's look like a 9. So just a equals to 5 over bx. So when they say write your answer in terms of b, x, and 5, the answer is here, and only 5b and x is over on that right side. All right, that's all I have. Good luck.